Hey everyone, I just wanted to give the background to my trip, to the start of it specifically. I was in Atlanta. I was working. I had always kind of dreamed. It was one of my goals to go on a big trip, to see the world. I had watched this video. They did a year abroad, starting in Asia, South America, America, also hitting New Zealand and Australia. And ever since then, watching that, I always wanted to do that. So I was saving up money, and I quit my job down in Atlanta. I moved home in order to plan my trip, and I was there 30 days to plan. And in that time, I did plan some, but really it was just a loose plan. It was roughly, I was going to travel 6 months, go in Europe in the summer, then Southeast Asia, and then New Zealand, maybe. Starting in Europe because summer, and I Googled best time to visit, is summer, and then Europe, summer, and then Southeast Asia, it's rainy season through most of it during that time. So that is why I chose there. But then also in that time, I planned out getting travel insurance, getting a bag, packing the bag, packing the bag, including like layers and dressing in layers. So long sleeve, short sleeve, long sleeve, athletic, maybe a long sleeve casual shirt, rain jacket, so if it's cold, that's will cover. If that's the only pairs I have, so if I got to do that too many times, things are going to get stinky. But the once, that's fine. Just planning things like that. And then I also had like a loose plan of, I can't plan that whole trip out, but I can do the start. So a loose plan of, in Europe, I was originally wanted to do Eastern Europe, maybe travel by bus, but I was looking at prices, and it was significantly cheaper to fly into London than really anywhere else. I think maybe Amsterdam and Berlin were cheapish, but significantly, I want to say even half of, I think Amsterdam was second, and it was half of that was to go to London. So with that being so much cheaper, I decided I would fly there. And then I started looking at prices and things, and my Eastern Europe trip kind of got turned into Western Europe trip, or at least the first half. So I did that, flew into London, and then I was looking around transportation, and I ended up getting the Eurail. I got the two months, 15-day travel day pass. So going by train, which I don't know if that was the best at the time or still, but I do know I don't know, it's like a thing here in the US where it's like backpacking Europe, taking the Eurail, like traveling by train. And I'd never really traveled too much by train at all, if any. So that was the loose plan that took 30 days to make. Also, I did vast majority of that. Good old procrastination. But hey, one day you'll learn. But anyways, and then, when it came to the day, I flew out of Nashville. I'm not from Nashville. I am from Tennessee, but so flew out of there, stayed with some buddies, flew out. Someone drove me to the airport, drove me to the airport, and then I flew Nashville to DC, DC to London. My flight to DC was unmemorable. My flight from London to London was quite good. There was it was a red eye, but there was no one on it, so I got my whole row, which I think was three seats, all to myself. Slept a little bit, not as well as I thought, you know, when you got a whole row, but still slept fine, so can't really complain. That's pretty lucky. And then I got there in the morning, so then I was ready to rumble there in the morning, excited for this journey I just began. And then I needed to just get on the train, and I had already gotten a hostel. And this is one thing I do remember, is that I got on the train, or it took me forever to figure out the train. Not because I didn't realize, knowing what I know now, all you have to do is put the address in the phone, you put public transportation or transportation, and boom, it will tell you exactly everything you need to know. Pretty much down to the timetables, which one. I did not know that. So I did it all the good old-fashioned way, which for someone who had never really been on a train, took a minute because I didn't want to mess it up. But I don't know, maybe it was just nerves. I also was glad it started in England, where everyone spoke English. So, but then, yeah, I took the train in, and that's kind of where the journey begins. Starting from my train that I finally figured out how to do, I arrived in Victoria Station, which is one of the main ones, kind of a historic train station. And then I just walked around there, moseying around the streets. I came to the Westminster Cathedral, which was really nice. Went in it. First cathedral in Europe that I saw. I had been previously, but you know, we don't have like stuff like that here. So it's very cool. And then just going through the streets, I really enjoyed there at the beginning. The streets there, London's a very like modern city, but still a lot of history there. I felt like you really see it in the streets walking through. And then I went to the Westminster Abbey, and where the Parliament building is, where Big Ben is. So saw all those buildings, which were cool. Very interesting, you know, that's like the iconic pictures there. And then just walked around a bunch. Took a bridge, went up the river or some, came back, took the main bridge where everyone's at, which is where like the Ferris wheel is. So many people there. You know, that was my kind of first taste of, if you walk off the tourist trail a little bit, you will see like no one, and you'll get a great view. And then as soon as you go to that main spot, so many people. And that's just a rule I eventually learned, but definitely first dose of it right there. Yeah, and this whole time I'm still walking with my pack, my front and back bag, because I even though I had a hostel, I couldn't check in till 3, so it was, I'm there excited to go, so I'm just rocking it as soon as I get there. Luckily I went with the Osprey bag, and which is supposed to be a good carry. They're known for making their outdoors bags, so like through hikers, but it was set up for travel, but it still had that suspension and stuff as like they put on their other through hiking bags, so it's quite nice. So it makes walking with it not too bad. Anyways, I'm walking around, go up the river some more, walk around Buckingham Palace, see the guards there, and see there's like a whole park there I walk through. There's museums around there. I didn't walk in anything. Like I said, I had my stuff on. And I didn't try to go in, but I bet they wouldn't let me in because I had all this stuff. Just why would you have the stuff? There's always rules and stuff. But anyways, and that took all day. it was very nice. I mean, for my first experience, that's major spots. I mean, major spots. I didn't go anywhere except that church, and I think I just took my head in because I, had all my stuff on me. And then I eventually, sadly, I will say I didn't take any pictures. I took 3 pictures and a pretty bad video, so, of these things, but it's nice. But it just shows where I was compared to like here at the end. Like I have so many videos and pictures of just everything, and it's interesting. But anyways, I didn't walk. I took another subway to Hammersmith, which is where I stayed. Checked in finally. There's kind of a little bit of a funny story. It was my first hostel experience there, and I didn't understand they gave me a room number and like an A, and I was like, what, is there a bed? What's the bed? Like, it took me forever. I had to go down and ask. I will say, like, normally there was something also, like, it wasn't that well known, or like maybe mine, I couldn't figure out I don't know. There was something there that like made no sense to me. I remember I even had to go ask. I was like, anyways, figured it out. And then that night, I think I just walked around Hammersmith a little bit, which is nice because it's on the water there, on the river. And then I got dinner, first British food. I got some fish and chips with some mashies, which are literally just like crushed up peas, I think. It was one of those things, sure, we'll have that. I had no clue what I was saying yes to. But it was good. It was one of those things. I walked in, and I will say the table situation was still a bit different. It was like you ordered, and then you just found your table, you ordered, and you told them your table number, which makes sense. But I'd never had that before at most places, and I don't think I ever had that again. But I didn't eat out much in Europe. Anyways, that was pretty much that first day. Stuck around. I went back to the hostel, slept. Yep. And then the next day, I went to the British Museum, which was free, which is very nice, and it's a huge museum. I didn't know much about it. I didn't. I thought it was gonna be like British stuff. It is not really. It's really all the stuff they collected from people, and from conquering the world pretty much. So they had a bunch of different other people's cultures stuff. It was really interesting. I mean, ruins from like the Middle East. I remember there was a section on like, I think it was Chinese or Korean or maybe both. It was definitely like Eastern stuff. I mean, just all types of stuff. It was free. It was great. I should have gotten there like as soon as it opened, and then stayed. I know the whole time I was there pretty much till it closed. But I walked through every section of it. There's only so much you can take in at one time, but I walked through the whole thing. And then after that, I went to the cathedral. Yep, I walked through St. Paul's Cathedral, and there was really nice. I had to pay to get in, and I was there only 40 minutes left. And I was like, sure, I did it. I came. So I walk in. It's stunning. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful cathedral. And then I go up to the top. I'm like, that'd be cool. In a nice view. And I get up there, and then there was just a line. And I'm sitting there like, I'm going to waste all 40 minutes up here. It was beautiful, but like, really the insides I feel like is better than the view, even though the view is quite nice. And it's interesting being up in there, and the buttresses, I think is what they're called. But I was like stressing the whole time. And then I get down there, and I realized they weren't actually closing. They're closing, when I got down there, they're closing for a service. So I actually had more time to walk around, because it was like they're closing and there's some layover. So I still walked around, pretty much saw all I needed to see. The one thing I didn't see is the crypts, which I would have liked to see, but I didn't, and that's okay. But I could have if I'd known there was this like grace period. I thought it was boom, kick you out. So I was like, I got to, anyways, to finish that, I got down within 5 minutes left, and then walking around, okay, I'd rather spend 5 minutes rather in the crypts to see old dead bodies and graves and stuff. But anyways, I stayed for the service, which was nice. I still didn't know what to expect because I've never been to a Anglican church service, and I don't think that's the regular. It was just like it was just songs, so it was honestly nice. You'd hear the music here. They had some choir. I don't think it was theirs. I think it was someone who's visiting. Came there just to sing that day. The one thing is I do kind of regret because I didn't know what was going on. I just sat in the back and just stayed the whole time and listened. And I think it was like 40 minutes, and it was quite nice. But the thing, I wish they let you into the area behind, like where the preacher would stand and all that. They let you in there, what's normally closed to the public, but because this was a service, this was an actual use of it, not just a tourist thing. They let anyone who wanted to go back there sit. So I could have gotten back there, which would have been really interesting, I think, because the way that church or cathedral was laid out was it was more ornate at the beginning, and then kind of less and less and less and less. So I sat in the back because I didn't know what to expect. So there was not that much ornate stuff about it compared to I could have been right up there in it, but it's okay. I mean, I still saw it from afar, but I have no clue what's back behind some of those curtains, seats, you never know. But anyway, so I do that. Yep, and then so I leave there and I walk around that area and I go across the river on one of the bridges, and across the river it gets to where they're building more modern skyscrapers and stuff and new buildings. And so I just walk around there, it's nice, and then I come to the Tower Bridge. Tower Bridge, which is the very famous bridge. And then it's the Tower of London, which is the old castle there. So I walk around there, I find the Tower of London, and I walk around it, but either it was closed or it was one of those things that cost more, or like if I'm gonna do it, it's gonna be a whole day thing. So I didn't. And then that was all I did. That by this time, I mean, this is, I was tired. Like this is a long day. And then I go back, I eat again, I believe at the same place, but I got scampies instead of shrimp, scampies instead of fish, which scampies, I still don't know what they are, honestly. But and then at night that day, I went back to where the Westminster Abbey is, and the Parliament Building and Big Ben. I went there at night, so I saw that at night, which is really cool because there's no one there now, and it's all lit up very nice, and no one's there, so it was really nice. So seeing the Big Ben, everything I said earlier, and then I went back, slept, and then the third day, I went to the Tower of London. So that was what I was doing that day. I went there and explored the whole castle complex, we'll call it. It's really interesting because it was the first castle there in London, and then they kind of just kept on building on it, and it was, always kind of under the monarch's control. I think technically it still is. There's still soldiers there that I believe are still sworn to the king now. It was interesting. There's a lot of history there, and it was used from then, and even I think up until World War I, they were still using it, and as military purposes. And then, but there's one, it's like a whole complex, and there's one big tower in the middle pretty much, and there was mostly used as a barracks or armory or both. Now it's a museum. So there I got to see all the like medieval armor and stuff like that, which was really cool seeing stuff like that, because I've never seen anything. I remember one was just huge, like a 6-7 foot person, 6'7", something like that, which was insane. And then there was also the crown jewels there, which I almost didn't do because there was a long queue there, long queue. But I ended up waiting, and I'm so glad I did, because it's insane. Like, you can tell they won. You know, they conquered the world pretty much, and I mean, their jewels are insane. I didn't get any picture of that because they don't allow you to, but I was glad I stayed. And the line went faster than I thought it would have, but yeah. And then the rest of that day, I went back and I spent it trying to plan out where I was going to go next, because I didn't. This is my first time using the URL pass, and I hadn't completely decided what I was going to do. I wasn't sure if I was going to go north to the Fringe Fest or up in Scotland, or if I was going to go to Paris or what the train situation, how do I even use it yet, because I hadn't used it yet. So I spent trying to figure that out, and I figured out that it was a lot harder to get off the island, because there's only certain trains that go off the island. They have to go through the tunnel that goes underground, and there was none in like the next 3 days to go to Paris. So I spent a long time checking each timetable. Nope. Okay. And then finally I was like, well, what are other cities that I could go to over there? And I literally, because I didn't have any plan. I really thought I would go over there and be like, oh, I'd meet people and be like, oh, we're going this way. But no, that is not how it was. I didn't meet anyone really. Met one guy. He was nice, but he was staying there. He was from Albania. So I think he had to get visas, and like, it was a lot harder. Albania? Nah, that doesn't sound right. Anyways, some country, it was a lot harder to get visas and stuff than it was for me to move fluidly. But anyways, but it wasn't like that. It was like, oh, I gotta get a seat reservation, figure this out. So eventually I did. I figured out I'd go to Brussels, and the next day. And then by the time I figured that out, it was like, oh, my thing's at 7, or my train's at 7, so I gotta get up early to make it. So I was like, boom, time to go to bed. But it was still nice. My overall opinion there in London was quite nice. I really enjoyed it. In London, there's just so many historical and important and pretty things that you get to see in such a small distance there. And I could have seen more. It was one of those things. I was just so excited to move, meet people, and I was seeing things I'd like to see, but I wasn't meeting people at the time. So and that was one of the I'm over there, I'm excited, I want to meet people, talk to people, not just, I think most of the people in the hostel I was staying there were there for like business. They were like older people. They were, I think just wanted even though it was a youth hostel, they just wanted a cheaper spot to live or stay there, which is fair enough, but I didn't. I want to move. So anyways, I was moving on. I'd seen really cool stuff, but it's expensive and stuff, so I move on. But anyways, sorry, sidetrack. I still really enjoyed it. It's still very nice, and honestly, one of my favorites still to this day. And I want to go back to England, explore some more. It's really of all the UK and Ireland, but another time.